Hello and welcome to Scary Movie and a Sandwich, a show all about comfort foods and horror movies. I'm your host, Artem Yatsanov. On every episode of Scary Movie and a Sandwich, my guests and I pair a perfect sandwich with a carefully curated horror film, and together we dive deep and digest and dissect the hidden layers and hidden meanings of both the sandwich and the movie. Our show is recorded at Key Frame Studios in sunny Hollywood, California, and is produced by Craig Lewis. Our show is edited by Zoe Hellings. Zoe Hellings is a filmmaker to watch, working out of Los Angeles, California. And you can follow Zoe's work at zoe.hellings on YouTube and Instagram. Our horror synopsis correspondent is, as always, the intrepid Antonia Lassar. You can follow Antonia's work at Antonia Lassar on Instagram and TikTok, as well as on her podcast, Yenta Pod. And lastly, our original artwork comes from our master of visuals, Luther Thompson. You can follow Luther's work at Tats Thompson on Instagram. We're so excited to have you with us on Scary Movie and a Sandwich, a show for anyone who's ever been afraid or hungry. Enjoy.
Sort of speaks to like this idea of male loneliness right now, that everybody's talking about this epidemic of male loneliness and like the incel problem of men feeling that they're sort of due female companionship because they're men and that insane. They're lonely, right. And that's a big problem. Whereas, you know, female loneliness is not a problem because women don't worry about that because they know how to socialize. They know how to not be lonely.
And there's like all these studies of like married heterosexual couples where like for the men, their wives are their best friends, and it's like a huge overwhelming percentage. Yeah. For the women, it's like a smaller percentage. They're like their best friends are outside of the marriage. Yeah. And it's interesting, you know, it's like because again, you're like thinking about these social structures. I mean, like, I think about that stuff too. I mean, Antonia, like, she's my, like, ride or die bestie. But I'm like, she's way more social than I am. I'm like, if I died from eating too many sandwiches tomorrow, she's going to be fine. You know what I mean? Welcome to Scary Movie and a Sandwich, your easy, cozy listening, easy watching, a show all about scary movies and tasty treats with me, your host, Artem. Today on the show, we have an absolutely fantastic, delightful, I'm so stoked she's here. Folks, with me today is Noël Stark. She's currently debuting her debut novel. You're debuting your debut novel. It's the first one, and she's debuting the first one.
I love debuting.
We love a debutante of sorts. Yeah. Noël is a writer, a producer, a director. You've worked in TV, in movies, in reality TV. You've written on a ton of things and a ton of shows, and now you're a novelist as well. The new book is called Love, Camera, Action. I nailed that?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Thank you. Love, Camera, Action. I want to rave about the book a little bit, but I also just want to welcome you to the show. Noël, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Wow, Noël, so you've done a ton of stuff in the entertainment industry.
Yeah. A ton. I've worked on over 200 hours of television in various ways. Scripted, unscripted, reality, doc, kids programming, ghost shows, true crime, renovation shows, all the things.
Incredible.
I had a short films at Sundance and at TIFF, and I've worked on. I've been an actress. I've been a singer. I've been a writer, a director, a producer. So I've seen a lot of the world from all the angles. And I decided to write a novel kind of on a whim, which is often what I do, most of the things I do. On whims, because I think if I knew what I was getting myself into, I would not do. You
would like talk yourself out of it.
I would talk myself out of it. And I wanted to write a rom-com because I was going through this romance novel binge. I was reading a ton of romance novels, and I wanted to write one. And I didn't want to spend time building a world because I wanted to focus on the relationships and the structures. So, as any writer will tell you, write what you know. And I set it on a film set.
Yeah, if folks couldn't tell, Love, Camera, Action.
Yeah, it says what's in the tin.
Yeah.
And so because I knew that world fairly well, I wanted to write about a love story that happens on set. And I had read a lot of Hollywood romances and they're mainly focused on the actors or the writers sometimes, for good reason, because they're the exciting ones.
Sure, yeah.
And
Somebody's doing a remake of Romeo and Juliet. You're gonna the actors playing Romeo.
Yeah,
nobody cares
exactly.
about the DP
No
and
one
the
cares
director.
exactly,
You know,
but I care about
you
the
do.
DP and the director, and so I wrote this where the director's a woman and the director of photography is a man, and they fall in love.
I love it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a slow reader, and I just started a couple of days ago, and I'm like 30% in.
All right.
Yeah, because my e-reader tells me how many percent I'm into, and I'm like, yeah, this is really.
I know, I love it.
I'm really enjoying it. I think it feels really lived in.
Cool.
Yeah, it does kind of. I think it's like an excellent treat for the audience to be like, oh, how do these things get made? Kind of like looking behind the curtain of the world. But also, I think the way, like a little teaser, there's like a scene where everybody on set talks about what love feels like. I just like read that scene where they're like, oh, when I knew this person was the one, and it feels so like charming and warm, and also it brought me back to when I would used to direct theater plays, and I love being in those spaces where you like are giving I would like give an actor a note and we'd start talking about something and we kind of get a little philosophical, and suddenly like it would like pull other people in, and they were like, well, you know, something similar to happen to me when I was, well, you know, and suddenly everybody's just having this like moment where we're all just sharing, and it's a lovely moment because everybody feels really moved and compelled to share it. And I think you captured this moment really beautifully in the book, and like everyone talking about, you know, a first love,
Like their thoughts on love. Yeah.
It's really powerful.
Thank you so much. I really love that scene because it really shows who the characters are in their reactions to how they feel about love. Like there's a couple of people who believe in love at first sight. There's a couple of people who don't believe in love at all. There's a couple of people who are clearly in love with other people on the set, but they're not allowed to say it. And so it's this kind of fun way to show the camaraderie on set, but also really illuminate their characters by their outlook.
Yeah, and it's also kind of great because it's all on the sets. It's about like how we perceive love in popular culture. So it is. There's a fine point of being like, yeah, we might feel this, but like, does this translate? You know, is that what's coming across? It's really. It's great. And I will say also, the way you talk about people feeling, you know, sexy, sexual stuff when people get turned on, it's very adult. It feels very, there's a, I think it ties into this movie too. There's a way that you talk about one night stands and like the fulfillment of desire and what kind of person makes a good one night stand and what kind of person makes a relationship. Yeah. And I'm like, God, this is very relatable. It like really hits with this psychological... You know,
I'm so glad.
You know, sure. I went through my one night stand phase, you know, and so I get it. You know, so it really was like, that's it.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, it's the director's been pulled into this at the last minute because one of the male directors has been fired because he said something unfortunate about the Me Too movement, and so they have to. The production has to kind of do a PR stunt of getting a woman to replace him, but she doesn't have much time to prepare. But she launches right in on the first page where she has to direct a sex scene, and she's very good at sex scenes. That's kind of why she's been hired. But it sort of talks about how you do sex scenes on set, how they have to be choreographed, how they're kind of very mechanical, and then you have to figure out a way to not make them mechanical. And then that translates into how she sees love and how she sees sex, and then how the DP sees love and the push and pull between them, and how it evolves as you get into it, because there are some very steamy sex scenes. And that's, you know, romance novels, in my mind, if you don't have the steamy sex scenes, there's no point in reading them.
I'm really looking forward to it. Honestly,
I'm glad.
It's keeping me up at night. I'm reading it way past my bedtime. So folks, love Camera Action by Noël Stark. Check it out now. I think this is like some of the stuff we're already talking about is like a perfect fit for our movie today. Yes. So Noël, without further ado, could you please introduce us to the movie we'll be discussing today?
Okay. I love this movie. It's called Under the Skin. It's directed by Jonathan Glazer and stars Scarlett Johansson. And it is this indie film that came out in 2013 and really got slammed. Like everybody, it was on all the top 100 lists of the year, and nobody watched it. Nobody came. It was considered a box office failure. And I just saw it a few months ago. because my therapist was talking about it. And my therapist, who does not watch any film, mentioned this movie that I did not know about. And so, you know, when your therapist says something, you're like, yeah, I got to go check this
is
out.
My medicine now.
Yeah. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, right. This is what film is for.
Cool.
You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
it's very poetic. It's super disturbing. I'm not a big scary movie fan because I take it all on board, and it really, really screws me up.
You prefer rom-coms,
I do prefer rom-coms because there's a lot of dark stuff going on in here already.
Yeah.
But it is so good. It is so disturbing on really fundamental, philosophical, and heartfelt levels. That I just had to bring. I had to discuss it with you.
Well, I think you might be a horror fan. You felt seen by this film. I feel like most horror fans that I talk to, and myself personally, there's something about feeling seen by the anxiety, by the fear, by the danger, but whatever it is you're experience that as well. There's something about. I mean,
that's so smart.
Every horror fan I know is like a sensitive softie. Who wears like metal shirts and has beards, you know, or tattoos, and they're like, you know, shaved head, and they're like, but they just like want to talk about their feelings and like the things the things that they're disappointed. You know, it's just like people are like very emotional. Yeah, it's a powerful medium.
It is a really powerful
genre.
Medium. Yeah,
I love this movie too, and it's I remember watching it for the first time and being so like curious and just compelled by like, okay, cool. Like it instantly made me like truly wanted to pull the layers apart and like get under the skin of the movie. And then recently rewatching it, I like watched it and it really felt like I was just afterwards. I just walked around the neighborhood for a couple hours without like any headphones like that, just like taking in the environment. And I just really just felt in a different place, really transported. It does something psychologically in a really
and I think
it's hypnotic, you know.
It's hypnotic. It really does put you in a different place. And because it's the camera work that does that. Scarlett Johansson is amazing in it. Yeah. The other people in it, they're all local Scottish actors, or not even actors. They're just locals. Yeah. And
they just seem like totally folks off the street. You know?
The soundtrack, the sound editing, it is really transporting.
Oh, okay. Wow. I'm excited. Super. Let's get into it. But we also, I have a surprise for you. Although you already figured it out. No, I was keen to my tricks. Oh. All right. So we're going to get into it more, but there was a journey with the sandwich here. It took twists and turns. There was a Scottish influence because this movie is set in Scotland. And we were really struggling with the Scottish element. Yeah. So I've decided to bring us to a pub influence. And so today, folks, we are doing a fried fish sandwich. It is fried cod. Yum. Now, for the deep fans of the show, they're gonna know I've done an episode with the fried fish cod sandwich. Deep lore, like 2 or 3 years ago, one of my solo episodes, I did fried cod for Autopsy of a Jane Doe, because in that movie they kept saying like, we need to find out the cause of death, the COD. COD,
oh
cut.
My God, that's so funny.
I always felt so smart. So go back into the archives, folks. Check out the.
But we should say like the original idea was to get a haggis sandwich.
Yes.
And the problem is that we're in LA, and in America you can't actually get real haggis because it's illegal. Like you can't, like the ingredients are sus. So it's like lamb heart and lamb kidneys ground up, and you boil it in a sheep's stomach. And so that's not the easy. FDA is like
extremely accessible. just the creation is so easy.
And you can't even really get fake haggis sandwiches for our purposes because we'd have to make it. It's not like you can go down to like Astro Burger and get a lamb inspired
and I did try, but funny enough, this fried fish sandwich comes to us from Astro Burger. And fans of the show will know that we've already had Astro Burger on the show, but we didn't have Astro Burger's burgers on the show. We don't have Astro Burger's burgers on the show today either. But I just love them so much, and they're so close to me. And Astro Burger, you guys always do everything great, so I'm excited about the fried fish sandwich. So we got a UK inspired, obviously very fish and chips, you know, from our local chippy, Astro Burger. Folks, we're gonna take a bite out of these sandwiches. Let's actually unravel these sandwiches real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna take a bite.
Please do. Okay. Please do.
Oh man,
Astro Burger, you guys.
Seriously, what can't they do?
It's so good. We're already making a mess. Astro Burger.
Love it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like it's everything you want from a fried fish sandwich, and none of the excess.
Yeah,
stuff
it's
you
not
don't.
too greasy because that's what actually you have to worry about with fish sandwiches.
Folks, this is a perfect time for you to hit pause, go get yourself a sandwich from Astro Burger if you can, and to go check out Under the Skin. But if you don't have time to watch Under the Skin, we have for you right now an all original synopsis of Under the Skin. Enjoy.
What's up, sandwiches? It's me, Antonia, here to nag you another week in a row. I'm here to give you the synopsis of the movie that I didn't watch because I have self-respect. You watched this because you're ruining your lives. Stop. Okay, today's movie is Under the Skin, starring Scarlett Johansson of ScarJo Yummy Pop. I haven't seen the movie because I don't watch scary movies. You're welcome. But I have seen the trailer and I have read the synopsis 1 million times. So I'm giving you my artistic interpretation of this terrible, terrible movie that you apparently chose to watch. Under the Skin, set in Scotland. Why? I don't know, because it's rainy and sad. Starring Scarlett Johansson. Why? Because she's hot. And this was directed by a man, I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
Of course. So the concept is Scarlett Johansson is this like alien entity, supernatural being where it's very femme fatale. She seduces men. How? I don't know. She's hot. Like truly, I haven't even watched the way she seduces them, but I know that it's stupid. She seduces them, takes them back to her like shack in the Scottish woods, and they don't notice that the entire house is melting around them and they're just slowly walking into this dark black gooey void. And as she's like stripping, they're sinking further and further into the goo until finally they are like completely enveloped in the goo, paralyzed by the black goo. Just their little eyeballs are there being like, don't eat me. And then presumably Scarlett Johansson eats them. Though we do see scenes of body parts being ground up on a conveyor belt as if they went through a meat processor. So you can imagine that's what happens. And like she seduces a lot of men, eats them all up, etc., etc. But then the film sort of goes in this direction where she's like trying to be kind of a human. So she like tries to like fall in love with the guy and they try to have sex, but it turns out like she seems not to have a vaginal opening. And so like they can't have penetrative sex. Very interesting that this male director was like, well, if they can't have P and V, then I guess there's nothing to be done. Interesting. She like tries to eat chocolate cake, but it seems like much like her vagina, her mouth like doesn't fully open and like go into her stomach, so it like doesn't go down. So she's like trying to be human, it's not working. And then she like flees into the woods where this man attacks her. As he's attacking her, he like kind of rips her skin off by accident, and like underneath is this like smooth black ovoid humanoid situation. I mean, cool image. And he's horrified. He decides to set her on fire. It's a real complex commentary on gender. And as she like burns to death, then we see this whole time there've been these like shadowy motorcyclists following her around, like cleaning up the messes. Like she'll consume a guy and then they'll like dispose of the body. And so as she's burning to death, there's like another shadowy motorcyclist watching. And so we can sort of put it together like, oh yeah, they're gonna dispose of her body, but like don't worry about it, there are more like weird entities out there. So that's the movie. Honestly, it feels very much like a male director being like, I'm gonna say something pretty crazy about gender. Okay, ladies seduce people and men are just horny dogs who they don't even care about anything as long as they have a hot lady. But sometimes they're not horny dogs, sometimes they're violent dogs. And he's like, see, I'm a feminist. Look, maybe it's better than that. I don't know. But I'm allowed to hate it. This has been your synopsis. I'm amazing. This movie is dumb. Love you.
Wow. What a synopsis. Incredible. Right?
Incredible.
She nails it every time.
She is so astute.
Oh my God. Antonio L'Astute. Okay, excuse me. Astro Burger. Again, huge shout out. This is so delicious. It's hard to do a fried fish sandwich well. Craig, the producer, by the way, we're coming to you live from Keyframe Studios in Hollywood. Craig, the producer, was just saying, not every day. Not every day that you have a fried fish sandwich that, hits.
It's good. It's really good. I'm surprised. I really am. A little bit of tartar. Not a tartar fan. Just a drop on there. Perfect.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love how like Craig is an unseen voice, just like the voice of God shows up. I told you, like, this sandwich has been blessed.
I approve of this sandwich.
That's basically it. That's all I do here.
Well, thank you, God. Thank you, Astro Burger. Well, wow. So we've got, we know a lot about the movie now. We are really getting to know the sandwich. We're getting to know you. I think we're ready for the tasty chats. Let's get into it. Noel, you already kind of brought one thing up. Scarlett Johansson's performance is so good. It's like, you know, she's the Black Widow. That's her in the Avengers, right? She's done like, what, like, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 Avengers movies at this point. She's like, she's always, you know, doing the Black Widow thing. But like, she's got serious acting chops. I mean, of course, she's amazing as the Black Widow, but like, she's done some movies that are really
You
trippy,
forget. You
know?
forget that she's actually quite a good actress.
Because she's such a huge blockbuster name.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, she's a riveting actress.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me. What's so special in particular about casting Scarlett Johansson?
I think the casting of her is so brilliant because it's a woman who lures men for her alien needs, which we're not quite clear on what they are.
Right. I love that we're led to believe, just because I think the way this was marketed is like sci-fi, psychological, horror. I feel like it's also based on a book. But Michael Faber, I think, is the name of the author, which is much more, well, I've just recently started reading it, but it's much more explicitly like she has a name in the book. She's not just like this nameless person. And then there's more understanding, at least from her perspective, of like how Scottish Highlands and Scottish highways work. So I think the book is like maybe gets into something more ambiguous. There's more detail. I'm interested in finding out, but in the movie, it's very ambiguous. Except there's something about it that you're like, I think the only way we connect.
Yeah.
Alien.
And I think,
So,
Jonathan Glazer really spent some time thinking about it. He was in development with it for 10 years and was discussing, was going back and forth. And I think it was originally supposed to be closer to the book in terms of a sci-fi hit, but he wanted to make it more and more social realist in a way of just a perspective of her. We talk a lot about film, about the male gaze, right? And it's still very male gazy. Okay. Like Scarlett Johansson is like the perfect woman. Okay. She's flippin' gorgeous. Her body is unreal. She's sweet and she's seductive and she laughs with all these guys and she's smart and she's coy. Like she's really good at hitting all those notes. And that's where the male gaze comes in, I think. But the horror comes in where you realize this perfect woman is actually the predator and that the guys are the ones that are the prey. Now, like, we live in a society where women are constantly preyed upon in many, many ways. So, you know, the slasher movie of the women getting, you know, killed, and, you know, there's guys that get killed in slasher movies too, but the woman is often the victim. For sure. And in this case, it turns its head. So it's almost like the male gaze looking, this is what's so great about Glazer, is that he is delving in what is the nightmare for men, is that they're being taken in by this unbelievably perfect woman who wants them. Who wants to have sex with them. And like, these guys almost can't believe it. You can see it on their faces. They are like, oh my God, this is amazing.
and I feel like it always like works on levels because, like you mentioned, the actors a lot of them are not, you've never seen them before in anything else.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are
they could just be locals. This might be the only thing they've ever done. It truly has this like meta thing of them being like, I can't believe I am in the scene with Scarlett Johansson.
Yes. It's very real. They're like,
she's seducing me. And they're just like, this is the thing I'm going to tell my grandkids. Then Grandpa took off his clothes. No, sorry, that's a terrible Scottish accent. Anyways, you know, but just, you know, like, then they'll be talking forever how they disrobed in front of Scarlett Johansson.
Well, and this is very interesting to me. This is also very brilliant. And now I was an actor. And I guess I'm still an actor, but you never stop being an actor. And I have been in sex scenes.
It's like the mob. You never really get out.
You never really get out. And I've been in sex scenes before. And what I really noticed that Glazer did was that when these guys are approaching her, they are often naked. She doesn't always, like through the movie, she gets more and more disrobed. So you do see her. So if you want to see Scarlett Johansson naked, that's like the only movie that I think she has been naked. And as they approach her, though, they are clearly aroused.
Yep, there
and that
is a great detail.
Such a great detail.
When they pan out, you're like, oh, everybody's just walking around with boners.
Everybody's got a boner, and like it's so real. And you can, I just like as a director, I'm like, so what did Glazer say to them when he hired them? He was like, listen, you're gonna have to do this, and if you aren't comfortable, being aroused in this
They're like,
film,
you're telling me I need to summon up a boner in front of
summon up a
you
boner.
know, and they were like, what is this? What?
Yeah.
They're like, I love Hollywood.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's so great. So it really makes it very real. And then the horror comes in because they are obviously not going to get with Scarlett Johansson. She is preying on them to get whatever she needs, which are we allowed to say? Like, I don't quite know what she needs. Like,
we're allowed to say this to full spoilers.
Right.
Like, this is the thing, even as we're kind of getting into this, tell me a little bit about like, what's special in particular about these guys? Because I think this is already relating to like, why Scarlett Johansson is a perfect fit.
Yes.
You know, it's to me, right? Like if this is we're talking about, she's like an alien or whatever, like there's something interesting about like this, whatever this entity is, whatever she is, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
And also it's important to know that she's not acting alone. She's kind of a pawn for these mysterious dudes who ride around on motorcycles that are maybe her handler or her go-between. We're not quite sure who they are.
Yeah, I started doing this thing. There's like in the opening sequence where there's another there's another woman's body that we think she's dead, but she's kind of unconscious.
Yeah,
who's like disrobed, and then Scarlett Johansson puts on her clothes.
Yeah, that's very interesting because it looks like she's dead.
She looks like she's dead,
but then you see her, then she cries, and that's a very interesting detail.
That she's not dead. She's
paralyzed. She's not dead.
And then that scene, Scarlett Johansson picks up an ant. Of this woman's body, and my mind instantly went to like something about insects. There's a bug motif, like oh, she kind of like this like mating worker bee, and these motorcycler guys are these like soldier bees of the keeper kind of like. And then honestly, my brain was like, okay, let's dig into this, because later on there's like a trapped fly, and
there's another bug later when she's at that dude's house.
And you could make, if you wanted to, you could say that the sound of motorcycles whizzing by sounds a little bit like a mosquito. Or maybe the soundtrack's got these like plaintive like violin strings that sound a little bit like
that are very dissonant.
Dissonant. Something. Anyways, I just started. What I think it kind of, and maybe we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but it got me thinking about there's some kind of a structure here. They have some kind of a social thing going on, the bikers and her, but they also have an understanding of our social structure, which is why she's been picked. Yeah, and she's been picked to go after men who would find her attractive. But also, she asks all of them, "Oh, are you going home? You're going home to your family? Do you live with somebody?
They have to be alone.
Somebody who wouldn't be missed."
Yeah,
it's
very smart.
So these are particular guys.
Well, and it sort of speaks to, like, this just came up in my mind right now. It sort of speaks to like this idea of male loneliness right now, that everybody's talking about, this epidemic of male loneliness. That's a thing, I think, because boys aren't socialized that way.
Right.
You know, and I think I have brothers, I have stepsons, I have a son, and it's a real thing that I think about in my own work. Like, I'm very curious, and I want to explore this idea of male toxicity, male loneliness, male tonic behavior instead of male toxic behavior. Like, how do males? I know, I stole it from someone.
Okay, good.
Okay. Is that?
Well, it's the first time I've ever heard of it. So
it is.
So I'm gonna attribute it to Noël. Yeah, trademark Stark.
Yeah. So it's male tonic behavior, and how do men go forward in the new world order while maintaining who they are, that's positive about them being men, like not letting go of their power or their masculinity, but finding a new way to be, so that they're not so they're kind of being left behind in some ways.
Well, yeah, it's it's a really powerful thing, because it makes me kind of just think about gender norms in society, sort of heteronormative norms, and you know, just there's a lot of we're socializing.
Yeah. And you do see it in the movie too, those gender norms with her performance, because as she begins to become more understanding of the human experience, she breaks away from the structure that has been made for her.
What did you, when you were first watching, right? What did you think was going to happen between her and the men when she picked them up? Like, what did you like? If you were just like, oh, I bet in the next scene, she's jumping around the room and fucking,
I was
don't
really
know,
scared.
Like wings grow out of her back, and she whatever, you know, like
I was really worried about some like very grotesque, violent thing that happened.
Penises getting chopped off, etc.
Yeah, or like I don't know, all sorts of stuff.
No, but there's a whole genre of like horror that's like revenge thrillers that are about, you know, and, you know, it's often women against men, and it's emasculating them, but like, there's an element. Yeah, she's trapped them, right? So
she's trapped them, and what's really interesting and oddly merciful is that she's walking into this very strange black space that's mirrored. So it's like this void that some people think, oh, she's brought them to the planet, or they're in a different dimension, or whatever. Like, I just choose to look at it as a metaphor.
I love the way that happened. They walk into a strange dilapidated house, and we cut to in this black void, strange like black liquid floor.
Yeah, and as they're kind of going after her and she's leading them deeper in, they sink slowly into this black goo. Yeah. And you don't really find out until the second guy.
I call him the dancer.
The dancer.
Actually, I guess technically he's the third guy. The first guy happens so fast we don't know what happens.
You don't know what happens.
The second dude who's like when he like takes off his
like
hat,
the
she's like, "Oh, you're very charming," and he's like, you know,
the guy with the footballer scarf that he puts over the
yeah. It's like he's so excited.
He's so
I gotta hang my team's flag outside the window.
He's like, I'm rocking it.
Yeah,
and so he sinks into this black goo. But then the second one that you see go into the black goo, the dancer, you see where he's gone, and up until the very moment where they sink in, there is not a thought in their head except getting it on with Scarlett Johansson.
This is what like makes me think about bugs. It's like pheromones. It's like this like hypnotic thing. I'm just drawn to it. Like my only prerogative. There's like this thing of like praying, consummating, consuming, rinse and repeat. You know, there's like something about that. Anyways.
Yeah. And so then when he goes down, he's in this like suspended state. It's
giving me goosebumps right now.
It's so awful. And this is what's so interesting, is that it's not grotesque, it's not violent, and it's so deeply disturbing. Yeah. And he's in this suspended state, and then he sees the first guy, I think, who's been there clearly for a little while.
His like body. This is, sorry, you're gonna hate me for this. Another bug illusion. It's like a bug in formaldehyde. Yeah. It's kind of preserved, but it's slowly deteriorating.
It's slowly deteriorating. It's sort of like, you know, the Silence of the Lambs thing where, you know, that she's down in the well and she's not allowed to eat so that her skin becomes looser on her body. So it's easier to take off her.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
No, I didn't realize that.
Yes. That's why, like, she's not allowed to eat. It's so, because that's why he picks girls that are overweight.
Wait, is this in the book? Because in the movie, I feel like.
No, it's in there. Because, I did read the book. It's true.
She like puts the lotion on.
She puts the lotion on, but she's not allowed to eat, and they pick bigger girls so that they lose weight. Well, gosh, now I don't know where I got my information.
Okay, so maybe it's in the book.
It might be. I'm not sure.
It's most likely. I feel like in the book they probably go into great detail. I really got to read the book. Yeah. But you're saying.
So, anyways, he picks those girls because when they don't eat, they lose the weight, and it makes the skin more loose. So it's easier to tailor. It's easier to get off their bodies and to tailor. And so then that what's reminded me,
that, you know, I've heard all the seamsters I know.
You know, hack in case you need to
Life
know.
hack.
Life hack. And so then it's like the first guy, he's all like wobbly, like he's been in this suspended state for a long time.
Features are a little distorted.
Yeah, as though his insides are being like softened up to be sucked out and leave just only his skin.
Yeah, I suppose. You know what I mean? I think that's what we're led to assume.
Yeah.
Especially because there's this haunting moment where all of his insides
just
are gone.
Go.
With no detail. We just see the skin floating.
Yeah, and then goes to this conveyor belt.
And then we see this conveyor belt that looks like
red
just like bloody mush.
Yeah.
So about that.
Yeah.
All of that is so interesting. So talking about what you think was going to happen, and this is not what you expected.
Not what you expected.
It is. I've never seen something like this before. I would bet that Jordan Peele was inspired a little bit by this in Get Out. The sunken place feels very much like a place you're sort of sinking into, and you kind of, because there's even a moment where we do see in one of the abductions, maybe it's the dancer, we see Scarlett Johansson walk up top,
walking
right?
above,
So there's like the sense of being this, you know, there's being this other environment. It's like this two worlds under the skin. That there's like the duality thing. And it's, you know, you can get into the themes, but like I've never seen something like that. Like the presentation of, if we are to draw the connections that this is the way the alien hunts, the way what happens to these bodies, the way they're consumed, just the abstraction of those moments is incredibly unsettling. It's very powerful.
It's so powerful, and I think because it's in abstraction that that it is more unsettling, because it's not clear. Okay, they take a scalpel to him and do this and this. It becomes like more of a dream state metaphor, and you do get the idea that the first guy understands what's happening. There's a certain consciousness to him, whereas the dancer guy is like a little bit confused where he is, and he's like, what's happening and where am I, and he keeps blinking, and then the other guy is like trying to say something to him before he like gets sucked away. And that's also where the horror comes in, is because the first guy is clearly conscious that something horrible
he's still mentally present to be aware that something's happening to him. I think they hang out on that scene enough for us to start to put ourselves in that place, like mentally, just like, what does that feel, what is it, you know, how destabilizing to not be able to hear. And there's even like a moment where the bodies somehow float closer to each other, and the guy who's about to get sucked away gets like grabbed.
They touch each other.
And something about the touch is really disturbing to the dancer dude who just got plunged in there. Maybe it's because the skin's like started to slough off or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like we start thinking about this, like, the tactility of it. Because, well, that's the other thing is like, sex in this film, and then later on, like sex takes on, we see sex approached from different perspectives. Later on in the film, we have people just trying to have kind of, I guess, like a somewhat romantic or consensual sex, right? Even with Scarlett's character, we're trying to figure out how she even associates herself to this world. And then there's a very clearly non-consensual scene of like an attempted sexual assault.
And I think, you know, like when she breaks away, she has this moment where she decides, and as I was watching it the second time, it sort of starts with the baby on the beach, I think, which is a horrifying scene, by the way.
That to me goes in a category of like, there's something that's horrific, there's something that's just horrible. That's horrible.
It's horrible. But there's something that tweaks in her about that, because she hears another baby in the car across from her. Like at first she just leaves the baby on the beach crying and doesn't even pay attention. But then later, where she's listening to the news story about the baby going missing, she hears the baby crying in the car next to her. So there's something like kind of tweaking that she's doing, because she's starting to listen to human beings.
I love this observation.
She starts like getting empathy because of that guy that she picks up, which is a very interesting the guy who's deformed,
who's got a kind of face.
I think it's I've read about it.
He's become really big recently too. He's got this big film with Sebastian Stan. It's called, I think it's called Another Man or No Other Man. But he's
a well-known guy. But she picks him up and she lets him go.
And then we see how this, if we say it's a hive, how these hive workers, these soldiers work. They zip in, they find him. Before he's even able to reach any safety, they throw him in the back trunk of a car. So this is like the parts of it that are so wild to me, is that like, if this is some kind of alien conglomerate, some kind of, blah, blah, they like understand things like cars and trunks of cars. You know what I mean? It's fascinating. It made me think about like, oh, maybe the guys on bikes are like actual humans who are like part of some kind of an alien lover cult. You know what I mean? And then, they're like, it's just like,
who knows?
But my mind is just like, it's just, I don't know. I love the mystery of it, because it is, I guess we could kind of lean into it, is like, the mystery is part of the movie, but it's not the point. All right. Let's ask you a deep question. What is the movie about? To you?
To me,
to
okay.
you.
Well, I mean, it's obviously about a bunch of stuff, but it's that flipping predatory thing with men, but I do think that once she starts to get some autonomy, she's told she's not allowed to. So in a way, to me, it's a deeply, deeply feminist film from a male perspective, because she tries to pull away from the hive. She's trying to figure out what this is all about, what her place is in it, where she is, what she's doing. And she develops this romantic relationship with this dude, and they start getting it on, and you can see that she's kind of trying to find her way within this interaction, and he tries to penetrate her and he can't. And she knocks him off, and she takes this lamp and shines it in her hoo-hoo, as my mother would say, and her like whatever is there, and she's got nothing to penetrate. And she's pissed, right? I think she's pissed that she's like, oh my God, you've made me this unbelievably gorgeous thing.
Yeah.
That is supposed to have sex with men to lure them, and you're not allowing me to have the pleasure of this situation. You didn't even give me the biological makeup to do it.
Yeah. It's so, I think on rewatch, I thought, because my first watching it, I really thought it was like, you ever seen that Kevin Smith movie, Dogma?
I haven't seen that.
They like, there's like a funny bit where they like pull down their pants and it's just like smooth like a can doll down there. And I was like, the first time watching it, I thought that's what's going on. And she shines a light and she's just like, there's nothing here.
And she's not allowed to have any enjoyment from it. Like she's sitting there waiting for the dude to slide in. She's just waiting, right?
Yeah.
And then he's having a lot of trouble. And then she kind of like, you see her kind of quizzically look at him, and then her hand goes down. And she's like a little shocked. She's like, what is down there? And then I think with the shining of the light, she's because the mood shifts so quick.
Yeah.
And then the shining of the light, like even if there was something going on there, like he might have stopped her and said, hey, don't worry about it, it's okay, this is how it works. But he was having problems doing anything.
Yeah.
So I think whatever's going on, something's wrong down there.
Yeah.
And she takes off. She leaves him and goes into the forest, which is a very kind of Jungian idea of like going into the subconscious of the forest, or like the back brain of the forest. And she
it really, and there's like, and it's kind of prefaced by like this whole swell of like fog, and it's kind of lost. And
she's lost, and she's in nature.
Wow.
And then she's not only allowed to not be in her power as a woman or derive pleasure, but she's not allowed any power, because then that forestry guy comes in and rapes her. And it's this idea that, here's your power, but you're not allowed to have it. And the first time I watched it, I was like, why would Glazer have ended it in that way? And the forestry guy gets away with it. He burns her to death like a witch, because he doesn't know. Like her skin has come off and she's revealing that she's some sort of alien. And he burns her to death. And it becomes, on the second viewing, to me, it just seemed like, no, you're not allowed to have power. You're not allowed to live in this goddess-like woman of Scarlett Johansson. You're not allowed to have all the great things that you can get from that.
How cruel.
And so, kind of, yeah. And
to be Scarlett Johansson.
And her skin is pulled off, so all that outside stuff is pulled off, and it just leaves the interior black mass that is the alien. So that was my perspective.
Oh, amazing. Whoa. How do you feel like the title of the film like speaks to that idea?
Well, what do you think about that?
I think it's a really big, like powerful, metaphor that you kind of created. That's this, there is something very empowering, but you're not actually able to take control of it or enjoy it, for the lack of a better word, or, utilize the power. Right. I kept, I guess, thinking that the meaning, what the movie's about focuses a lot on change and humanity. Like, I think you like. I apologize. I caught you up before, but because you were really kind of getting into the fact that this gentleman that she lets go kind of inspires this empathy in her, and so there's like this question of like, well, what does it mean to be human? Is it just the capacity to? Because bugs don't fucking care about each other, or at least as far as we like understand it, we feel like they just have like a drone does this, a worker does that. My thought was her starting to explore humanity. Is like the thing that undoes her. It's like a powerful metaphor to me is like, as soon as you have empathy, you're blindsided by the like necessity to make choices because you have to like choose to care or not care. And like that in itself is a, I don't know, a destabilizing sort of state of affairs. However, I feel that that's a very broad meaning because then they kind of zero in on the fact that we're showing men and women, a woman and men interacting a specific way. And then that becomes a kind of a thing about, it's almost like who's worthy of empathy or something. There's some kind of question about like that to me, like that humanity and unhumanity.
Yeah. And it should, like, I should say that I read that Glazer didn't want it to be about gender issues. Like that wasn't his intention. He wanted to be about humanity and exploring those kinds of issues from an alien perspective. But honestly, talking about when you put a piece of art into the world, it becomes its own thing. I don't know how you can separate the gender issues from this because they're so clear.
I think that's the interesting thing is like, I recently saw a movie, it's called The Apartment.
Oh, like the 1960s?
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
Stunning film.
Yeah,
Stunning film.
So fun.
And okay, it's made in 19s, and it's in the 60s. But it's all about gender dynamics. It's it's about this guy's renting out an apartment to the senior execs in his company so they can have sex with their mistresses. So it's all about gender dynamics. It's all about a society's construct of gender dynamics, and there's a whole subplot about love and heartbreak and the emotional and mental struggle with that because you have characters in it that have struggled with like suicidal ideation or like they literally attempted suicide and come the characters, not to get totally sidetracked, but like you can't watch that movie now 50 years and removed from it, right?
I think it is 1960.
So it's like 60 plus years removed from it, and not think boy, they sure did things differently back then. Do you know what I mean? And you're plugged right into thinking about gender dynamics and of its culture and of its time. So I feel like there's something about this film. Hey, we live in this society where we have genders. We have gender discourse all the time. We have conversations about men are like this and women are like that. There's like that's still prevalent. So you can't. It's hard to not watch this movie and not think about gender being this big thing.
And this ties back to my book a little bit, is because speaking of the 60s, when I was watching Mad Men, which is set in the 60s, the early seasons anyways, there were things that were happening to Peggy that were so sexist, and she was seeing them, like the guys going out to like have drinks and just not including her, and then they would talk business while they were having drinks. That literally had happened to me that day. So even though that was set in the 60s, when I was working in the 2000 aughts and teens, and now that happened to me. So those things. And
there's a really very cool scene beautiful, cool, very exciting, very like powerful scene in your book really early on. Just around the time when they start talking about love too, but there is like this conversation happening without her. Without her,
it's like the showrunner comes in and talks to the DP about the scene without consulting her, and she wonders, if I were a guy, would that have happened? And she has to make that quick decision. That's happened to me. I have a friend who's blowing up as a doc film director right now. She said that happened to me last week. So these things are still happening. They're not as clear. They're not as obvious. And it's very hard for people, especially women, to talk about them because they don't want to be branded as someone who just brings up sexism because they like it's sour grapes or they're bitter or something like that. So, but it's still happening.
Yeah, it's because it's actually happening.
Yeah.
Because it's literally happening.
Yeah.
If you have a job and somebody's making decisions on your behalf for what you should be doing without consulting you, that would piss you off.
Yeah.
And that should be, no matter what your gender is, that should be categorically not happening.
Yeah.
So,
And so then what is interesting to me and what I'm trying to explore in my books is this idea of genders, of what you just said, like boys are like this and girls are like that, is that they're so rigid that men and women aren't allowed to go out of those structures, and it causes a lot of heartache. Like, why can't, like, right off the top, when we see Jory, the director of photography, and there's a producer coming in, and the producer looks at the bed and says, "Oh my God, there's too many pillows on this bed. No man has this many pillows," which is a joke, right?
Right.
But Jory says, "Hey man, men can have pillows." Right? Which is also a joke. And the producer says, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry for being so judgmental," but she makes them take the pillows off.
Right.
Which is all like a joke. But I also meant the underpinning of, yeah, men aren't allowed to have too many pillows because it means they're, and how rigid is that?
I will say here on the pod, I present pretty masculine. I sleep with 5 pillows. I have pillows everywhere.
There you go.
Antonia has 1. I have 5 pillows.
Yeah.
In different assortments and positionings.
See, proving my point.
I'm with you.
But it's true. So you watch Under the Skin and you can't help but look at the dynamics. You look at the apartment, you can't help but look at the dynamics. And even though Shirley MacLaine has a lot of power within who she is and what her character is, because she's a secretary who's in love with her boss and has been discarded.
In the apartment, right. Yeah.
In the apartment, but she's been discarded. What her power is within that very restrictive situation.
Yeah.
Oh no, she's not the secretary. She's the elevator woman. She's the elevator girl.
Right.
So yeah, like how can you not talk about the gender dynamics?
And then so you bring it back to this film that's made in 2013, and it's we're still seeing you through that lens, and I think it's poignantly designed for us to think about those things along with other right.
Like there's a reason Scarlett Johansson was cast.
Yeah,
she's a perfect woman because she's not so beautiful. She's untouchable. She's a woman that you feel like you might know who's like beautiful, but so she's approachable.
Here's what's really interesting is that if you were to make that movie today, you actually couldn't cast Scarlett Johansson because she's too globally known. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't really buy the scenes that men are being like, "Oh yeah," you're like, "Didn't I see something? Aren't you on this giant poster right now?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, are you on every YouTube ad for the upcoming blah blah blah?
Yeah.
Do you know? There's just something about it, like, she really kind of at that time is like kind of captured just right. Yeah, this is like, it's interesting. There's so many observations and so many things that like on rewatch and just like even talking about it. I did want to bring up that, well, we had this whole Haggis conversation earlier, and then we ended on this. You have your Scottish background.
Yeah.
And this is actually how you pitched the movie. You're like, well, this movie's set in Scotland.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my kind of question is, and I know maybe relates to the meaning of the film too, is like, why set it in Scotland?
Yeah. So I was thinking about that too.
Like, I know the book takes place in Scotland, but like, why is it in Scotland? Like, what happens if it's in a more rural area?
Well,
what
I
happens
mean,
if
if you want to look at the film through a different lens,
okay,
you can look at it in terms of colonist versus colonized. So it's interesting to me that Scarlett Johansson is English in this.
That's
she has
right.
an
She has a
English
British accent. Yeah.
Right? And that like could be for many reasons. It might be because Scarlett Johansson couldn't do a Scottish accent, so they went, you can be British. Not British, but English specifically.
But it's another item that like others her.
It does other her, yes. And it also might be, my stepdaughter and I were talking about Americans playing English people and how it's very hard for us to buy Americans playing English people. And you buy it with her because she's an alien. So it's like you give her a little bit of slack. But then it's an idea of the colonizer of the English coming into Scotland, because there's a very, very difficult relationship between England and Scotland in terms of colonizing. And so then what does it mean for this English woman to come in and disrupt a Scottish situation and go after all these Scottish men? So there, you can look at it in that sense as well as like the colonizer finding empathy for what they're doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching a bit. But and it's interesting to look at it, from my personal perspective, because my father's background is Scottish and my mother's background is English, and it's very, on my mother's side, like an aristocratic line, and from my dad's, it's a peasant line. And so then where do those two things mix? Which I think is hard for like Americans to understand the difference between England and Scotland because it's so close together. It's just a tiny, tiny little island.
Right, and those cultures are still so intermingled. Whereas, America was, the colonizers of America are like across the ocean, and the Americans have such a distinct culture, so that we don't really think about like at one time. And also, the white settlers here don't very infrequently think about the First Nations, the indigenous people are here too. So like, but when you think about UK and Scotland and Northern Ireland are all kind of right next to the people who oppress them. And then it's still kind of a relevant topic of oppression now.
Yeah, because there's questions of Scotland gaining its independence all the time.
Yeah, but for Americans, you don't quite key into it right away. So, but your experience in your family.
So just to be clear, I'm Canadian. And I don't know a lot about that because my father was actually adopted. And so I didn't know about my Scottish heritage until I was older.
Oh, I see.
And so it's kind of a way for me to be, I'm learning about that culture more because of that. Like I'm trying to reach out to my ancestors and understanding of what that is. So I don't know a lot about it, but I know some things just from historical stuff, and also a lot of Scottish people immigrated to Canada, and so then it's an interesting thing just to follow from an ancestry perspective.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share. So I thought it was interesting the fact that you were mentioning the British accent, and I just took a look, and it was saying that in the movie they wanted her to use a British accent because there were the undercover parts of filming, and they wanted her to be able to blend in with the non-actors that they were capturing on camera. So they were using her British accent as some sort of mechanism in order to blend in, like the wigs and everything, because they didn't want people to react to her because of her current fame. So I thought I would throw that out there.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's got a little meta.
Well, and
too.
also too, I think
That's
that
very
would help.
Cool. Nice.
That would also help her because if
Craig
she
the
was
producer with gems
Thank
always
you.
in here.
I know. It would also help her in terms of it wouldn't be so weird that there would be an English person there in Scotland.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas if she used her American accent, they'd be like, "Oh, a Yanks here."
Yeah, they might actually recognize her voice and like, wait, do I know this person?
Or if she started doing an actual Scottish accent, they'd be like, "You sound weird," or like they just think she was one of the locals, and they'd start giving her references that she would be completely gold.
Yeah.
Exactly. So threaded the needle with that one.
So that's so interesting because they did use a lot of hidden cameras.
Yes.
In the filming, which gives it a very sterile feel in some ways, like as though you're watching it happen from behind glass.
Yeah.
Like he didn't use too many shots of the usual filmic language that we're used to that's intimate or, teaches us to be scared. It's back a bit because they were hidden cameras.
And we hear the ambiance and the atmosphere, people talking, the passing of cars, chatter, somebody screaming, da-da-da. And then and just slightly underneath it, we hear the soundtrack, which almost starts to sound almost like her pulse, her internal something, like it's our connection to her, but it's like her presence in the world is just sort of followed through this like soundtrack that we hear. And well, thinking about it being set in Scotland, which is, it's funny again, I totally really, I'm Ukrainian and I moved here when I was 11, but like I also like I've been trying to reconnect with my Ukrainian roots. But it is funny to find like kind of obscure ways to try to reconnect with your roots, because it's like, okay, well, I'm reconnecting with my Scottish roots. I'm going to watch Under the Skin, and then tomorrow I'm watching Braveheart, and then Trainspotting. These are my three cultural touchstones, but it's like, right, it's such a menagerie of things that makes like us us like people who have descended from other cultures, and now we live in this place and try to like get reacquainted with our common roots or something.
With our common roots, and it's funny, like connecting with your ancestry in different ways, I think is kind of fun and important. Like I've started to learn Scottish Gaelic. We're learning it on Duolingo, and it's interesting because Duolingo will say, oh, you say this one thing like a play up a pie and a pint. And I'm like, why are they teaching me to say that? And I was watching Under the Skin, and there was an ad,
a play, a pint.
a play, a pie and a pint. And so that's clearly a Scottish thing that they do, where you get food and get to, I guess it's a type of dinner theater. I don't know.
That's great.
Yeah. And so it's interesting to kind of come in on that, because and also fascinating is I went to Scotland briefly for 4 or 5 days when I was touring Europe or whatever. And I'd never felt so connected to a geography of a place in my life.
Oh my God.
It was bizarre.
my God.
I'm from Ontario, Canada, which is forests and snow and hot summers and all this stuff. And I went to Scotland in the Highlands, and I'm like, oh my God, this feels like home to me.
No, I still remember going back to Ukraine. I've only been back twice in like the 20 odd years that I've been here. And every time I went back, I was just like, oh my God, I'm physically related to everybody here. Everyone looks like me.
Yeah.
They look like this is like my brother or my sister. Like it was just so weird to look at people who have like the same like bone structure. It's
Yeah.
just like, this is
It's so weird
bizarre.
because growing up in North America, you're used to diversity. Like that's just,
Sure,
you're
yeah.
not used to the homogeneity of European countries. Like I
Uh-huh.
studied in Sweden. I was like, damn, these people all look Swedish. This is weird, you know? And so
one in Sweden.
Yeah, but
Look
in
like
Sweden.
Sweden.
And what I found so weird is because I didn't know about my Scottish heritage until I was much older,
Uh-huh.
that there was some sort of visceral cellular connection to the land that I had never experienced before.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird. Yeah.
So before you move to casting the sandwich,
Oh yes.
I just wanted to throw this out there. I don't know if you remember when this film, when it was doing the rounds at the festivals, but did you happen to remember what happened at the Venice Film Festival?
No.
Okay, so they screened this film,
Right.
and at the end of it, it was met with the equal amount of cheers and boos at the festival.
I believe that.
And
Booze?
the festival director, Alberto Barbera, said that Scarlett Johansson was almost brought to tears because it was so poorly received. And he actually said to her, don't worry, in time, this film will be recognized. And he was 100%. 100% correct, because it is technically, I feel like it's a cult classic. Like it's fallen into that space. So I just wanted to mention that because I find that's very interesting,
Yeah.
given the subject matter and I don't
Yeah.
know.
And I bet
Yeah.
she really
themes.
poured
Wow,
her
yeah.
heart
Thanks,
into
Craig,
that.
yeah.
You could see that she really poured her heart into that performance and that she really believed in it. And I
Yeah.
can imagine it would have been heartbreaking
Yeah.
because it is a good film, but I also understand why it didn't do well.
Yeah.
You know.
But also to both of your points, like it's a film that now, like, we're not the only ones discovering this film. No, this book, like, you go on any kind of like horror subreddits on other interviews, that people love this movie and the layers that it's about and what it touches on and how you can approach it, right? Yeah, it's interesting making something. I always think about this, and we've had somebody on here before talking about Lynch, and we had somebody on here recently talking about Picnic at Hanging Rock. Just the choice to make a film that will be possibly somewhat inaccessible. It's like, I think to your thought early on in the conversation today, you were like, oh, this is what film is able to do. Remember, like you started like talking about that, and there is something about that is like, yeah, I'm gonna give you something to really think about,
Yeah.
and be moved by.
And I think what happened was also is that film was at the end of the indie era, and it was in the midst of the kind of golden TV era where indie films were on the outs.
Well, this is like in the 2013s. Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
And I think people were probably mad at it because they thought it was too inaccessible or it was too boring or it was too whatever. But the thing about film is that it has so much breadth of the way it can be told, and we've gotten used to a very narrow version of how that's done.
Right.
And revisiting this and seeing this, because 2013 I had my son, and so I was kind of out of I was MIA for a while because
That's where you just watched this movie.
Yeah,
2
yeah,
months
just,
ago.
yeah. So I missed that whole thing that Craig was talking about, like of the festivals booing it. But it's like a return of saying, oh, this is what it can do. This is what Lynch could do. We had a conversation about Guy Maddin, a Canadian filmmaker.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Whose stuff is very inaccessible to the regular folks, but it's so interesting to watch because it's so out there. And so we have to remember that film has a lot that can offer us that isn't just a straight narrative.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, I wanted to just share this one
yeah.
little aspect because I just find that it's always a conversation about art potentially arriving early. You know, like we're constantly waiting for society to evolve and catch up. So I don't know if you remember back in 1992, biggest film, got a bunch of Oscar recognition. It was called The Crying Game.
Yeah.
And it was about a transgender woman, right? Now, if we hear today, there's a film about a transgender woman, you're like, okay, and?
Yeah, I roll another one, right?
But then it was one of these things where it was like, wow, the subject matter is being taken on in the early 90s, right?
Yeah.
Where the community really wasn't galvanized and there wasn't a voice and you weren't experiencing this on a daily basis.
Shock.
It was a huge, huge deal. But again, today it's just like, okay, transgender, and what's the story about? Like,
we talk about this.
so that's one of those situations where I felt like the art arrived early, and maybe it's very similar to what's happened here with this film.
That's art's role.
I agree.
Yeah,
100%. I agree.
It's
yes.
it's to shake things up. It's to move things forward. You see that all the time in film or in books where there's like a shattering of a norm, and you're like, oh my God, like people, it shifts the way people look at the world.
Yeah, Boys Don't Cry with Hilary Swank. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same
Back to
thing.
the apartment. Back to the apartment was the idea of like having sex in a film that was not marital was a big problem. That one of the earlier versions of a likable or positive Jewish character in that film with the neighbor who's a doctor.
That's right. Who like saves? Oh, my
who
God.
saves her?
Totally. Yeah.
Right. So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, and that won the Academy Award. So it's that's art's role is to shock us out and to thrust us forward, because maybe transgender rights would have taken a lot longer to roll out if that movie had not been made.
Yeah. Right.
I don't
Yeah. Art. I mean, that's the power of, I feel like, art. You get it into the conversation. You kind of wake people up a bit. Wow. We gotta wrap this episode up. Oh my God, Noel. Like, this is such a good conversation.
Yay.
Thank you for bringing this honestly timeless classic.
Thank you.
I think
it was my pleasure.
Speaking to the power of art, it's a film that not only has it like with time gotten appreciated, but it has aged and is like, I think we can see ourselves in 10 years and 60 years, like the apartment we're talking about, Under the Skin, and what did it mean at the time? What does it mean now? And like, it's powerful. Almost as powerful as what roles does this sandwich would the characters of Under the Skin play in the sandwich. So we're gonna do a segment called Cast This Sandwich. Okay. Not sure.
Cast this sandwich.
All right. Today, starring in the fried fish sandwich. Okay, so I was trying to break this up because we technically have like a ton of characters, but we both have a lot of characters and a kind of an economy of ingredients. So we've got Scarlett. I'm just gonna refer to her as Scarlett. We've got the motorcycle man. Then just like one big blanket of the pickups, all of the guys that kind of go into the conveyor belt space. And then we have like the black silhouette that's actually under the skin, although we could kind of say maybe Scarlett and the black silhouette kind of share space. Then we have the bus boyfriend. And then I do feel like the same line at the end is maybe we can also, he could be like, he could be the paper wrapper that gets thrown in the trash.
Yeah.
But like some of the
He's the spit on the sandwich from the chef who got mad at your order.
Astro Burger, you're perfect. You're spotless.
No, it's not. Astro Burger would never do that.
You would never. Okay. No. He spat in my face actually upon my order, but I deserved it. Okay. So who do we think is Scarlett? And then the sandwich has bun, two gorgeous fried white fish, cod We got a touch of tartar, a classy amount of tartar sauce, lettuce, tomato, done. That's it. We're really not working with a lot. Yeah.
Good, yeah.
Okay. Noelle, who's Scarlett?
I mean, I think Scarlett's probably the top of the bun because it keeps everything in and enclosed, and she's the front woman of the operation.
Okay.
And I would say the motorcycle guy is the bottom bun
Oh,
because he's behind the scenes and he's kind of orchestrates it and keeps it all together.
I love that. Top bun.
You tell me
bottom
if you don't disagree with that.
No. This is perfect.
The dudes are like the fish sandwich because the skin is the batter and then the fish outside. You can like, as a kid, I don't know. As a kid, I would take the fish out of the batter because I thought the batter was gross as a kid. So I would actually scrape the batter off and eat the insides of the fish.
Oh, right. It's all about the insides, and the skin is just kind of left in that underwater.
Right now I think it's just delicious.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I did not like that. I feel like the secret sauce is the man that makes Scarlett Johansson empathetic.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh, okay.
But I have no lettuce or tomato. Maybe the bus boyfriend is either the lettuce or the tomato. I was reading a book where this guy refers to himself as the lettuce in a sandwich because he's so boring and benign. And so he actually calls himself lettuce. So maybe that is the bus.
The bus boyfriend, yeah.
The bus boyfriend.
So maybe he's the lettuce. We've got the fucker.
The rapist.
The fuck up, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he could be the tomato. A lot of people don't like tomatoes in their sandwich.
Yeah, some people are like the spoiled my time.
Yeah. Whereas I don't know what that says about people who like tomatoes. We're getting into some dark
we're getting to some.
territory.
Yeah, woof. This just got controversial. What about the black silhouette? Do we think that the black silhouette gets a roll in the sandwich?
Well, maybe they're the tomato.
They're the tomato.
They're the tomato. That's what inside underneath. That's what's holding up the top of the bun, right? It goes bun, then tomato, then lettuce.
Okay, so fuck you, Woodsman. We don't need
Yeah, we
you.
hate you.
We hate you. Okay. All right. So we've got Scarlett, top bun. Motorcycle man, bottom bun. The man that get picked up, or the fried fish, and the man with the nice hands is the sauce that gives her humanity, and her humanity, of course, makes her reach out for some lettuce. That's the bus boyfriend. And all throughout, the tomato sits there, observing, trying to take it all in.
Yeah.
You know, it's true. Because the tomato is kind of trying to be part of the conversation, and people are like, I don't know if I want you around. Then it gets soggy, and you're like, this is black slow. It's like, am I fitting in? Am I human yet? Right.
Good spin.
Wow. Noelle. Expertly done. Incredible. Folks, Noël Stark, thank you for being here at Keyframe Studios. Noelle, your book,
Yes.
Love, Camera, Action.
Which is very different than Under the Skin.
Yes, but I think reading the book, people will kind of see how I don't know how deeply connected you actually were to this movie because of all of these kind of conversations about power and
I did see one connection is because some people think that the writer might have based Scarlett Johansson's character on a folkloric creature called a Bevon Sith, which is a Scottish woman thing that comes to huntsmen when they want female companionship but haven't given up their wishes to God, and something terrible happens and she consumes them. So it's this idea of kind of succubi or evil women
she's come
spirits
to kind of claim someone because they've wronged God or something.
They've just asked for their passions without like saying giving it up to God. And in my book, the show that they're working on is called The Demon.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's based on a female demon that I researched called the Druid, which they come to men in their dreams and suck the life out of them in their dreams, giving them nightmares because of their bad deeds during the day. So
oh my God.
I
couldn't picture a better guest for this movie. In fact, you're the experts. I got so lucky.
of female destructive spirits.
Incredible. Noël Stark, you're a delight. Incredible.
This is so much fun.
Thank you so much. And your book is fantastic. Just so impressed by everything you do. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. And thank you to Craig. How awesome with his
Shout out to
introductions.
Craig. Yes. Folks, thanks again for joining us on Scary Movie in a Sandwich. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you join us next time. And until then,
Stay hungry and stay
scared.